Today, I'm going to be trying out several methods to make a waterproof blind bag. At the end, I'm going to be putting them to the test by dunking them in water to see which waterproof blind bag reigns supreme. Let's get started. The first method we're going to try is with duct tape. Now, duct tape is more water resistant than waterproof, but realistically, most craft supplies are at best water resistant. So no, I will not be using a PVC pipe to make a waterproof blind box, thank you. Wait, actually that might not be a bad idea. Anyways, first I'm cutting a long strip of duct tape and folding it onto itself. Wow, that was terrible. You can do better than that. I'm going to repeat this process 2 more times so that I have something like this. Next, I'm using more duct tape to connect 3 duct tape pieces horizontally against each other. That way, we can have a duct tape sheet to work with. I made this second piece off camera so that you don't have to watch me suffer, you crazy. With the 2 duct tape sheets stacked on top of one another, I'm using scissors to snip off the ugly, uneven edge to form a smoother edge. To turn these sheets into a blind bag, I'm just taping the edges over both pieces, leaving the top part untaped so that we have a bag-like shape. Alrighty, duct tape and scissors, you may exit the facility. Now we can start the design. I'm taking my white Sharpie brush tip pen, and guess what? I'm making a FIFA World Cup 2026 blind bag. I mean, I'm not a huge sports fanatic, but that doesn't make me oblivious to the ever so prominent sports culture. As I'm editing this, I believe it's semifinals right now. But anyways, I'm writing the words blind bag above and below the FIFA 26 logo so that it's obvious that it's a blind bag. And I don't know about you, but I don't remember water-based brush pens being waterproof or water resistant, so I'm using white fabric paint to fill in the remaining details. I'm using the tip of this paper pink clip and spreading the white paint within the white traces. Come to think of it, I'm not even sure that fabric paint is that water resistant either, but in my head, I think it's still more durable than a water-based pen when submerged in water. I mean, I'm not going to spray a water hose directly on this blind bag to test if it's waterproof. That's ballistic crazy. After many tears later, my paint spreading work is complete, and I'm going to let that dry. In the meanwhile, I want to test to see if using clear tape could produce a reasonably waterproof blind bag. Now, I have this blind bag that I've held onto for a year. This was supposed to be for a video, but clearly it hasn't. Until now. So basically, I'm just covering the entire blind bag with tape. How fun. The reason why I wanted to try this out is because most clear tape surfaces, at least the non-sticky part, is hydrophobic, meaning water repelling. I just have to make sure that there are no gaps for the water to infiltrate the tape encasing that I have just formed. So yeah, here it is. Definitely got a little bit sloppy at the back. But you know what? It's the functionality that matters here, right? To be honest, I'm not confident about that part either. But we'll see how waterproof it is later. Now this next method might sound a little bit wacky because it is. But yeah, rubber gloves. Rubber is waterproof, and the only rubber supply that is accessible to me right now that could even potentially function as a blind bag is this. Latex-free, powder-free, protein-free. What does that mean? So you might be wondering, what kind of blind bag could you make with a glove of all things? Like, there's just too many parts sticking out in weird directions to the point where it's impossible to infinity gauntlet. Yeah, I don't even watch the Avengers or know much about it, but apparently that was the first thing that came to mind. I'm using this orange construction paper as my painting surface so that I don't have to clean my actual working surface underneath. Workspace inception. Since the Infinity Gauntlet is mostly gold, I'm bringing out my gold fabric paint. I don't know, this paint is just so special to me for some reason, I can't explain it. I'm squirting the paint directly onto the glove and I'm spreading it throughout using a paintbrush. This was oddly therapeutic as not only was the paint relatively easy to apply, but since rubber doesn't absorb paint, like at all, it was easy to achieve good coverage after just one coat. Now I did think it was a huge mistake to use construction paper as my working surface, because after I finished painting, I let it to dry and, well, you'll see later. Meanwhile, we'll work on the 4th and final waterproof blind bag method, plastic bags. Like the clear tape, plastic bags are also hydrophobic, so it won't suck up water. Don't believe me? Well, I guess I'll have to prove it to you then. I have my water bottle here, just watch. Or maybe not. I literally have carpet under my table, so maybe not the best idea. What was the purpose of that? I pre-cut these 2 pieces of paper which would act as the front and back cover of the blind bag respectively. So starting with the front cover, I'm taking some colored pencils and a mechanical pencil to draw my design. This will be an apple blind bag, simply because I have a lot of papercrafts from that one Apple papercrafts video left over. If you guys didn't know, I store most of my papercrafts in a separate drawer after I make them. Although some are way too big to store and I end up having to get rid of them, but for the most most part, I keep as much as I can. But the more important thing to note is that why did I try to draw the complicated version of the Apple logo? I could have just, made the Apple logo
flat gray
and just called it a day, but nope, that's on being extra like I always am. To the right of the logo, I'm writing Apple blind bag and making the Apple font as closely as possible. With that, here is the front cover. For the back, I'm drawing 4 circles for the 4 rarities. This time, I'm going for common, uncommon, rare, and legendary. And for the bottom here, I'm going to write my signature. So that's that. Let's open up the plastic bag and insert the cover so that the designs are facing outwards, and this is what it's looking like. Not too bad, I'd say. Next, let's work on the You Got paper. I'm writing You Got on the front here, and as for what rarity I want this blind bag to be, I'm choosing common. Take it or leave it. Not every blind bag can be legendary, I'm sorry. Just drew the icon that corresponds to common because isn't that the point? To make life easy for us. But as for the item, I have this 20k carat real gold limited edition Apple Watch Versace Louis Vuitton. I'm just kidding about the last part. I made this in that one Apple papercraft video like I mentioned earlier. Functions great, and it's so easy to put on my wrist. Okay, well the real reason why I chose this item specifically was that it was small enough to make an inside bag for, which is what I'm doing next. I'm quickly making a bag out of white scrap paper, drawing a question mark on, taping the paper so that it forms a small pocket for the Apple Watch to fit inside. From there, we can tape off the final edge, and with that, our inside items are now complete. All that's left to do is to insert the inside bag and the You Got paper in between the front and back covers to really encapsulate the mystery aspect, meaning you shouldn't be able to see what's inside the blind bag just by looking at it from the outside. Now the screen part is low-key bothering me, so I'm briefly going to trim that off so that its glaring greenness does not distract your attention from this beautiful blind bag cover. With our plastic bag blind bag done, that sounds weird, let's head back to our duct tape blind bag. I'm proceeding with black fabric paint and my bent paper clip to write FIFA underneath the trophy cup. I'm also taking the time to fix up that trophy silhouette because whew, boy, I could not have left it the way it was before, but now that's what I'll have to dry. Well, back to the Infinity Gauntlet. So remnants of the construction paper got stuck to the back of the glove. That's great. Well, now I'm going in with coat number 2, filling in the empty spots that I wasn't able to fully cover with coat number 1. And once again, I'm leaving this to dry. Alrighty, this is the last time you'll see this guy again. I made this You Got paper in advance because I think you guys get the point. I'm choosing uncommon this time. Hope you're content with my decision. And this is my item. It's the Squishmallows X FIFA 26 X McDonald's collab blind box. Well, it's not really a blind box. You kind of already know what you're going to get. Oh, and this is where I copied the FIFA icon from. Looking at the back, there's way more Squishmallows than I thought there were. I particularly like this Mallory duck right here. But no, we got Jim the llama, alpaca, whichever one is correct, I guess. He's going bottom first into our blind bag, and following him is the You Got paper. Side note, I like how Jim is uncommon, but that gold Apple Watch is common. But anyways, finally we can use our duct tape to seal off the final edge, and here is our duct tape blind bag. Let's now return to our work in progress Infinity Gauntlet. I'm taking some scratch paper and black paint to apply the mech-like details of the gauntlet. Let me just tell you, this was the most annoying part of this entire project because what do you mean I had to dip my paperclip into the paint every 2 seconds just to paint a 1 centimeter line? Like, that's crazy. I could have went the easy route and just used a black pen, but I'm really insistent on this close to waterproof thing. For the gemstones, I'm breaking out every last color of fabric paint I owned. This was a wake-up call for me to get new fabric paint because the amount of diluting, mixing, and shaking I had to do just to make these paints less chunky was the last thing I wanted to do right now. At some point, I just gave up and used my brush tip pens because screw chunky fabric paint. Whatever, at least we got the job done. Now for the inside items, obviously I had to draw Thanos and make a paper squishy of him. I almost said make a paper squishy out of him. If I drew Thanos like he is in the comics, that would be terrifying, so I opted to draw the Funko Pop version of him instead. I'm serving justice for your eyes. You can thank me later. Then I'm drawing Thanos in with my colored pencils. Nothing special here. And now I'm going to cut him out, plaster the entire thing with clear tape. This time I'm using tissue as stuffing. I'm ripping it into shreds, stuffing the paper shell, and finally taping off the final edge. You know, the squishy is actually squishier than I thought. Nice. Oh, and I almost forgot about the You Got paper. I think I'm going to make this a common blind bag because I feel like I didn't do Thanos justice here. Yikes. Now, before we stuff our items inside the gauntlet, the finger holes are looking a bit limp. Ew, why is it shaking like that? I'm inserting some paper bars inside each finger hole so that there's more dimension to them. Now, finally, we can insert our paper squishy and the You Got paper inside the glove. To close off the final edge, I'm using duct tape to do the trick. And here's our Infinity Gauntlet blind bag. Don't look at the back. With all of our waterproof blind bags completed, let's put them to the test. Let me officially welcome you to Meepyblues' Water Splash, featuring Tub and the Speech Ball, which is the only other water park related object I have on hand right now. As for predictions, I thought the duct tape and glove blind bags were going to do the best, and the other two the worst. So for the test, I'm going to submerge each blind bag for 30 seconds underwater, and afterwards we'll check to see how wet the inside contents are. First contestant, Derp blind bag.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no.
When I tell you that I had no faith in this being even water resistant, I'm being ruthlessly honest here. I remember it only being in for about 10 seconds and I could already feel the dampness of the paper. And once I lifted it out, the blind bag spoke for itself. Side note, it's been a year since I made this blind bag, so I don't even know what's in here. Upon opening the blind bag, the back of the inside bag had a bit of water damage. Oh, what's this? A checklist? And what do we get? Oh, mystery? Knowing me, I'm kind of scared. So I opened the inside bag to find a glue stick. Hey, I actually needed this. I just ran out of glue tape, so hopefully this can last me another year. But overall, failed, as expected. Our second contestant, the plastic bag blind bag. Honestly, I was a little distrusting of how strong the seal part of the blind bag was going to hold up, but when the 30 seconds was up, I was surprised to see very little dampness, if at all. Once I opened up the seal, there was virtually no water damage to the inside bag or the You Got paper. Any wet spots you saw in these clips was the water from my hands touching the paper, so overall this was a shocking win. Now this is the one I was most excited to test out. Immediately upon entering the water, there was a part of the blind bag that started bubbling infuriatingly. It might have been the pressure from me holding the blind bag inside the water so that it doesn't float to the top, but to be honest, that alone wasn't a good sign. Immediately after removing it from the water, I could hear the water sloshing from the inside, and if you don't believe me, just watch this. Jim was soaked, almost drowned, and the You Got paper was pretty damp as well. Surprisingly, a massive fail. Now the last contestant, the Infinity Gauntlet. I had decent expectations for this one considering rubber is waterproof, but the duct tape part did worry me a little bit. Thankfully, there was no bubbling like the previous blind bag, and you know, things did look promising, but once I cut open the blind bag, it was all over. The paper squishy was super wet, and it didn't help that the filling was tissue, and the You Got paper was mildly wet too. I think if I had used a better sealant to close off this rubber glove, this would have worked, and had I known that duct tape was going to be the worst performer of the bunch, heck, even the clear tape one did slightly better in comparison, I wouldn't have used it for the Infinity Gauntlet. The plastic bag was the winner of the bunch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know if you'd like to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys later. Meepyblues out.